all the things you need to know, have access to in your mom toolbox, or you don't even have to be a mom. We have plenty of people on here that are not moms, but you are your own best doctor because you know your body. You take care of yourself. Someone has a question. I'm sorry. Oh, hi, Deborah. So you are your own best doctor because you know yourself. You can give yourself boundaries. You know what you're eating. You know what you're around. Like, you know all the things. You don't even have to go tell anyone. You know you. You can figure things out. God has given you a very high level of intelligence. And so tonight we're going to put it to work. You're going to want to get your pen and paper handy because you need to write these things down. In our digital age, any moment we could lose everything. So don't just rely solely on finding things on Pinterest, finding things on Google. Being able to buy a book was just taken away from us yesterday. Talking about this baby right here. We cannot buy these anymore after they are out of stock. These are our pocket references that we hold near and dear to us. So write your things down. Write your things down. Okay, so we're gonna get started. I'm gonna go ahead and mute everybody. In the chat of the group, go ahead and mention where you're coming in from and who invited you. If you've never been to class before, let us know who invited you, because we do what's called a virtual punch card. Every time you come to class, you get a punch for coming. If you invite a friend, you get an extra punch. Once you get 10 punches on your card, you get some happy mail in the mail from me and Haleigh. And we want to bless you for coming and just say bravo, pat on the back. Good job. Here's some free, not coffee. Haleigh does this at her coffee shop. You get some free coffee when she comes for 10 times. Okay, you get some free Happy Meal. So come on and let us know who invited you, if it's your first time, and where you're coming in from, because we want to celebrate you. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and mute everyone. And while I'm doing this, Haleigh is gonna go ahead and talk to us about the problem with sickness.
Right. So I'm so excited. I love classes. My eyes were open when I was sitting in class like a year and a half ago. I was like, what in the world? These oils actually work. I just thought they just made your house smell good. So the problem with and don't just take this as just with your kids. You can actually use this information for all of the family, every single one of them, grandma, uncle, whoever. So during the middle of the night, I don't know about you, but my kids will, normally they come in here or you're usually during the day, we used to get sick all the time. I'm talking every other week we were in the doctor's office or we were just home, and it was so exhausting. And that exhaustion led up to more sickness. And so this was my kids, probably the first 2 years of their life, both of them, or the first two. So I have three. So the reason being, we have more people who are sick nowadays than we have ever seen. We have more hospitals, we have more medications, we have everything at our disposal, but we're still sick. And we're still having to go to the doctor and all these things. And so a couple of things that we don't take into consideration. And when you go to the doctor, I know for me, I grew up I was like Stephanie, I had strep throat all the time. It was not rare for me to be out for 2 weeks at a time, 5 times a year, because it was just I was sick all the time. And so from that, weak immune systems, there's so many different things. So when you go to the doctor, I know for me, and even when I took my kids, we were not taught the root of the problem. We're just continuously putting Band-Aids on everything. We have strep throat, here's an antibiotic. Oh, we have this, we have that, we have that. And it's we become a microwave society where we just want a quick fix, and we're not really invested in the real getting down to the root of what is underlying are the reasons why we're, we have this, we have skin issues, we have, heart problems, we have this, we have that. We're not taught to go under, like rip the Band-Aid off and just like, okay, what's really going on? And so some of that stuff is actually things like the SAD diet, our standard American diet. We're over here eating potato chips and Mountain Dew, and you know, and that's all we eat all day. That was like Dr. Pepper and donuts were like my thing all day. That would be my whole diet. So that we're not drinking enough water. And our lack of like, we have like not a lot of activity. We're caught up on like our phones and everything like that, which is like taking away from what our being outside, the everything that like God created us to be outside in nature. That is like healing to us. Just putting your hands and your feet in the dirt, it does something for our immune systems. So we're lacking that. And then also our toxic products are actually putting a lot of stress on our bodies, and it's causing us to have very low immune systems, which our body is focusing so much on taking away the toxins that we can't. Whenever we're around someone who has the flu or a cough or something like that, we can't even, our immune systems are pretty much shot that we can't really fight that off. It takes us a very long time to fight off. So, and not only that, like, I don't know about you, but every time you go to the doctor, it was just like a quick fix. But then it's like you have this long, you're like getting bills and all that kind of stuff. So it adds up. So taking the Band-Aid off and actually getting down to the root of like, okay, why am I having this skin issue? Why am I having this, this cough, this whatever, and treating that. So supporting that way that, the best way that you can in a natural way, and not wreaking havoc on our body with, all the things that we're being handed to nowadays. So Stephanie is going to share some things with you guys on how you can, the solution for this. I'm going to pass that over to her.
All right, thanks, Haleigh. So here's your solution. Guys, we've got to take care of our bodies. Keep your immune system heightened. Make sure you are eating living foods. Make sure, living foods, things that are fermented. We talked about this, I think, 2 weeks ago for our gut health. Make sure you have fermented foods going on in your body. Like we talked about kefir. Goat's milk kefir is a great one to have. Kimchi, kombucha, you can make your own. That's a super fun thing to learn how to do. It's going to keep all that live active bacteria going on in your gut. You need that. Good quality probiotics. You need to have your kids and yourself and your husbands on good quality probiotics. The best time to take that is at nighttime before bed. You can also, as a preventative, you can do a fast once a season, once a year, depending on how things are moving. If you feel sluggish and like your digestive system is just not working, guys, that means your immune system is not working very well. So do some kind of fast. If you need a reference on that, we can send you a link to our YouTube video on that class. Definitely recommend that for a super strong immune system. And that's something that you can even do with your kids. Like you can do a saltwater flush with them. Our 8-year-old has done one before, and it's been so healing for him. So definitely take care of your body with living foods. Make sure your gut's in good working order. Keep the toxins out of your lifestyle as much as possible, because every single toxin is definitely wreaking havoc on your immune system. It is causing your body to work harder to process those toxins instead of actually repairing what's going on in your gut. And so before you know it, something sneaks in and you are defenseless because of that. Say no to sugar as much as you can. Sugar is a bad deal for so many reasons, but here's the deal. 1 teaspoon of sugar pretty much shuts your immune system down for 2 hours. 1 teaspoon of sugar, 2 hours to process it. So your immune system is working so hard to process a teaspoon of sugar that it's not able to do anything else for 2 hours. So that's 1 teaspoon. So if you're like visiting Starbucks and getting your fancy latte, frappuccino, extra drizzle, all the stuff, Who knows how much sugar's in that? Okay. And your body is working on processing that for 5 bajillion hours rather than you. And then you're not getting enough sleep. You're not getting any exercise. You're not getting your heart rate up. You're not getting some sunshine. All the things, you're under stress. And so your body's just not doing what it's designed by God to do. And that's to heal you. Your body wants to live and thrive and help you do the work that God's given to you to do. We are meant to do so much more than what we're doing here in our lives. And that's using your brain and being intelligent and making intelligent decisions and having intelligent conversation with people. And we just can't do it because we're so limited because of the things. So thank you, Eric. All right, so that is the solution in a nutshell. But now we're gonna go into the real deal stuff, guys. You want to get your pen and paper ready, write this in your oil journal. We used to give these out all the time to people, like when you got started, like you get an oil journal and this pocket reference. Now that we can't give these to you that much anymore, I guess as soon as they're all sold out, guys, you better be taking some notes. I told someone yesterday, I was like, it's gonna be like in China where they like share a page of the Bible. Here's your page for this week. Here's your page. We're gonna be passing this out. Here's your page. Here's your page. Don't rip that. I need that back. Okay, so Haleigh's gonna start. We're gonna give you 12 of our home remedies. We're not telling you that this is by the book. This is what we do, tried and true, what we do in our home, that when we face these issues, this is what we have done. So Haleigh's gonna go over the first 6, okay? All right, Haleigh, I'm ready to write all your stuff down.
All right, so the first one is going to be sore throat. So what I do with kids is I would put, my kids personally won't like, they're very like iffy with putting things like spray or anything. So I usually will put like coconut oil and put a little thieves, put a little lavender mixed in, 1 to 2 drops in my hands, and then just putting it on my throat, on their throats. Now, if your kids can handle it, if they're not like picky or anything, you can just grab your thieves spray. Just do, if you don't have the actual like thieves spray that came, you can make your own, which is really great with Manuka honey. You get like a tablespoon of Manuka honey, warm it up, or no, if you want to do it in a little like amber glass bottle, you're going to get a 4-ounce glass bottle and then put Manuka honey in it, and then about 10 drops of thieves vitality, and then you're going to fill the rest up with water. So, and then that is just really great for like spraying in your throat if your kids can handle that. Like I said, my kids won't. Ear pain is going to be right around the ear. You're just going to grab a couple drops of Melrose. And I would say if your kids are a little bit more sensitive, you can go ahead and like dilute all of these, but just put 1 to 2 drops, 3 drops in your hand of Melrose, lavender, right around their ears. So if they wake up in the middle of the night, that's perfect for that. A UTI, same thing, just a little bit of coconut oil right in the palm of your hand. And then you're going to do like 1 to 2 drops of lemon, 1 to 2 drops of lavender, and 1 to 2 drops of tea tree oil. And then I put it right on, like right above the belly, or like right below the belly button. And that's really simple. You can even make a roller out of this if you'd like. Skin infections, I use first, the rose ointment is amazing for skin infections. I just did this with my son. He was breaking out on the back of his legs. And so I did that. And then 1 to 2 drops of lavender and frankincense with a little bit of coconut oil. And then you can just like put it around. I put it around it just depending on what, if your kids are sensitive or not. My kids, I usually can just put it right on there, and the oils are super gentle, and it's good to go. Now I'll put that on there until probably every 6 hours, just depending on like what it looks like, and then just go from there. So you just kind of just go from what your like what the skin infection is looking like. Let's see. And I use this also for like ringworm. My daughter had ringworm right on her cheek, and so I just did this right around the ringworm, and it was perfect for that. I didn't like touch it or anything. You don't want to touch it. And then just like put it right around the ringworm, and it was perfect. Let's see. Bronchitis, you're gonna grab, so there's a really simple thing that you can get from Young Living, and it's actually the Thieves Chest Rub. So that's an easy button, but if that's a super easy way to just, if you need it, put it in your medicine cabinet or whatever, and you can just rub it right on your kid's chest. But a really great one that our family used during whenever my son had a really bad cough, it was my first like oil testimony with this. We used frankincense. I just put it right on his chest. Frankincense and lemon. It probably like 3 drops each. But another great one is Raven and RC. So I just used 1 to 2 drops, 1 to 3 drops each. And I did this probably every hour. And also I did a lot of tree oils, Idaho blue spruce, and pine. I did a lot of pine. And so I just did that right on their chest area, and just like, it was probably every 1 to 2 hours I did this. And then another great thing that we do during these like any of this is going on is Ningjared. Like, you just want to have that for just flushing out your body, anything that's in your body, and then putting your diffuser on. Usually, like, if there's anything going on with my family, I'm like, put the Thieves in the diffuser and just keep it going all the time. So that's some of the things. Let's see, did I have one more? I don't think I have one more. Okay, did I? No. All right, so I'm going to pass it over to Stephanie, and she is going to share some more.
All right, thank you, Haleigh. I got lots of notes. Okay, thank you so much. All right, guys, so I'm going to go over 5, and then we have a guest on. She's going to give the number 6, so I'm super excited to hear from her. So here is what we have done. These are all tried and true things that we do. So I'm going to give them to you. I have a lot of like things that we've tried, so I'm just going to give them to you. So it doesn't mean you have to do all of them, but this is what has worked, and you have lots of solutions because oils are multi-purposed, and literally they all help somewhere. So it's really just dependent on where we've been and what we've had on hand, and we've had breakthrough. So the first one I'm going to talk about is cold. And then sometimes a cold can lead into RSV. We've had a baby that was 2 months old who had RSV. He turned purple and he could not breathe. And I had to pray Jesus's healing blood over him. I literally thought he was going to die in my arms. And this is what we did for him. But you can also apply this to flu as well. But let me give you what we did. Okay, so number 1 thing that you want to do if you are facing a cold, a flu, RSV, or anytime you're just feeling really sick and you're like, I think death just hit me, like the wall. You know that feeling when you're like, I just hit a wall. I'm done. Okay, we don't want you to get like that. So here we go. You need to have oregano. If you do not have oregano in your wellness kit, you need oregano. It is essential to this wellness, oregano. Okay, you're wanting to dilute it 80-20. So if you want to go ahead and make a roller and be ready for it, like that's a great thing to do. That was one of the number 1 things we did for our son. We did diluted oregano 80-20 on his chest. What does that mean, 80-20? So 80% was carrier oil, 20% was the oregano, because oregano brings your blood to the surface really fast. And so it feels like it's burning, but it's not really. It's pulling the toxins so fast out of those blood cells. So it's like up at the top of your skin and you're like, oh my gosh, I have a red streak. Well, that's your blood and the oil working, like pulling whatever, the virus or the sickness out. So you want to dilute it sometimes so it doesn't feel so uncomfortable. So 80-20 is actually what I did on my 2-month-old. You might be able to do 50-50. The pocket reference, I believe, says to do 80-20. And mamas that are oilers that see me put oregano on my newborns, they were like mind blown. They're like, you can use oregano on your baby? Yes, you can. It saved his life. Okay, so 80-20 oregano, put that on the chest and on the spine, put a roller on it. Go ahead and dilute it so it's ready to go. Put it on the chest and the spine, bottom to the feet. You can put a hot, wet compress over it if you need to. For my little guy, we actually did a wellness raindrop shower for him because he was like on the brink of death. Okay, so when you're in a hot, wet environment, your body drinks in, like it is so thirsty. It just drinks in these oils that you put on your skin. But guys, guess what? It doesn't just do that with oils. It does that with anything you put on your body in a hot, wet environment. So if you are putting Bath and Body Works all over you, your body's like, ooh, it's not helping your immune system. Okay, so make sure you ditch and switch. But that's what I do with my guy, my little guy. We actually grabbed in your pocket reference, there is an area called the Appendix A. It's product usage for body systems. This, you could really not even write down anything I'm going to tell you if you have a pocket reference and you go to Appendix A, because this is what I did. This works for everything. In Appendix A, on page 367, it goes through and tells you every single oil and product Young Living makes that you can apply to whatever system of your body that needs support. So for my little guy, I went to the respiratory column and I pulled every single oil that I had in our oil cabinet that worked with the respiratory system. So this is like pages and pages and pages. My guy needed to go to the hospital. The pediatrician said he needed to go to the hospital sometime that weekend. I didn't divert the situation. I just waited, and she said, this is what you're going to look for when you need to take him to the hospital. And I said, okay. So I did this, and I pulled every oil. I think we had like 37 oils. Did I really need 37 oils? No, I did not, but my kid was dying. Aren't you going to give your kid the very best? Yes, I'm going to pull 37 oils out of my medicine cabinet, and I'm going to put them on him. So what we did, I put coconut oil on the back of his back, 2 months old, a little baby, little tiny baby. He was in the shower. I had a diaper on him because we didn't want the oils running into his sensitive parts, but I had him in the shower, and we started with Copaiba. And then we did Valor. You need to write that down. That's not in there. Copaiba, Valor, because you want to put those on the spine so your body is getting ready to basically accept the oils. Copaiba is a magnifier, and Valor allows the spinal column to open up. So those are important. Copaiba, Valor. Get those if you don't have them. You need Copaiba. So I did that. I put it on the bottom of his spine, and I worked it up. So bottom, up, or like the lumbar area and up, and you're gonna push it up into, and this works on big people, not just babies. This is actually in the book on Raindrop, but this is just the baby version of it, right? So I did that, those 2 oils, Copaiba first and then Valor. And then from there, I just, all 37 of those oils, we went one by one. Eric dropped a drop of each in my hand, and I worked it up his spine. We were in the shower, hot, wet shower. I had the shower going on me. The shower was not going on the baby. He was just breathing in the hot, steaming air. We did all 37 of those oils, and then we finished with oregano. And then we put more coconut oil all over his back. And then I just held him in the shower and nursed him for like 20 minutes. He started coughing up all this stuff. At 2 months old, your baby does not cough up stuff, okay? They do not have the ability to cough up stuff. He was coughing up stuff at that point. I waited, I patted him dry, swaddled him, got him in a fresh diaper. I did the diluted oregano on his chest and on his spine again. And then I did purification. You need to have purification too. So now I have told you, you need oregano, you need Copaiba, and you need purification. This is for anything that affects the respiratory system that's severe, where people cannot breathe. You need purification because it has myrtle in it. Myrtle was coined many years ago. It was coined ventilator in a bottle, myrtle. Ventilator in a bottle. Myrtle is in purification. It helps you to breathe when you cannot breathe, okay? I did purification on his chest, undiluted, every 30 minutes as well. Now, I set a timer on my phone because I wanted my baby to live. It is an inconvenience to be sick. It is an inconvenience sometimes to stay well and, you know, to fight for your life. So I did that, and I did it for 2 days. Every 30 minutes I was oiling up my baby. But here is the amazing thing about this story, and this is the longest story I have. But here's the amazing thing. I swaddled him up, and I went in there every 30 minutes, and I did these oils on the bottoms of his feet and on his chest. I didn't do his spine while he was sleeping, but he slept for 2 hours. And when he woke up, he had this huge bowel movement. I know this is TMI, but this is a miracle. I talked to Eric. He was in the next room. I said, Eric, come here. I said, I don't want to be the person that makes up stuff, but will you please look at this baby's diaper and tell me what that is? Because I knew what it was, but I was like, maybe I'm delusional. And he came over and he was like, that's snot. How is there snot in his diaper? And I was like, okay, I just wanted to be sure that that legitimately was snot in his mucus. It had passed from his lungs while he was sleeping into his stool, and he literally pooped out all of this mucus that he was suffocating on. It works, okay? That's what it does. It passed through his system. So I continued to do that every 30 minutes. He had like plenty of other diapers like that because it was all that congestion. Okay, here's the long story short. He was better within 24 hours. I had a doctor's appointment set up for him that Monday morning. His pediatrician saw me when I went in there, and she said, Stephanie, what are you doing here? I told you were going to have to take your baby to the hospital this weekend, because that was Friday afternoon. She told me that. This was Monday morning. She made me like an appointment Monday morning just for me to feel better, but she knew that I wouldn't actually be there because I would be at the hospital. So when I showed up, she was like, what are you doing here? And I said, my baby's well. And she said, Stephanie, your baby is very sick. And she was getting on to me. She was very stern with me. I said, no, he is healed. God healed him. And she said, Stephanie, I'm going to swab him. And it's that long stick. They gag it down your throat and down your, it's the same one they do now. And so she did that. Now on Friday when she did it, she came back within 2 minutes and told me he had RSV, really bad case. Monday morning, she comes back. It takes her at least 20 minutes to come back. And I'm like, what does it take? Why is it taking her so long to come back in here? She comes back in to the room and she said, Stephanie, what did you do to your child? And I said, I told you that God healed him. I used a bunch of oils on him. It's too long for me to even take your time to tell you what I did. But she said, I don't know what you did, but he's better. He's healed. And I'm like crying. And I'm like, I told you he was healed. And she said, I know, but I just didn't believe it until, you know, the swab said he was healed. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm supposed to go to Orlando tomorrow. Do I have your A-OK to take the baby to Orlando? And she was like, yeah, of course, he's healed. He's fine. There's nothing wrong with him. And so my daughter, Amelia, at the same time still had this little cough thing. And she said, well, whatever you did with the baby, you need to do with your daughter. And I was like, okay, y'all, that was the last time I went to the doctors. That was 3.5 years ago.
Except to take oils when they ask.
I'm sorry, Eric said except to take oils when they ask for them. I dropped oils off. But we haven't been because we have everything we need for midnight wellness. It's right here. Okay, so that's a long story, but you can do that. Okay, here's another thing. So that's the worst of it, right? You're never gonna have to even face that. Another thing we do for cold and flu, I had the flu one year. This is what we do for flu. We do Manuka honey, like Haleigh mentioned. Manuka honey has antibiotic properties in it. You're welcome, Chelsea. Thank you. It has antibiotic properties in it, Manuka honey. It's expensive. Get it in your wellness cabinet. You need it. You need it. You need it. It's like $20 for a little bottle like this. It's very, very vital that you have that. It just works really well. Manuka honey, and then we use a lot of garlic in our home. Not only does it help your gut, it's like one of those fermented food things, but there is, y'all, this is awesome. This is something that we were using before we even had oils. Garlic. Okay, you can take a clove of fresh garlic. Do not buy the garlic that has a hole in the bottom of it. Like, you know, when you buy a big I don't know what they call them, like a flower of garlic, a clove, a full clove of garlic. If it has a cutout underneath of it, like it's like a cave, that is from China, and you do not want that. That's how they cut theirs.
They have to remove all the roots.
They have to remove all the roots, and it's just not good garlic. Do not buy garlic that's cut out, the roots are gone like that. In America, the good fresh garlic, you can have the roots still, okay? It's good. So just a little tip, I do not buy the kind that has a big cave underneath of it. Okay, get a clove of garlic, peel all the dry skin off of it, and you're gonna mince it up or cut it into slices. And then you're gonna take a teaspoon of that Manuka honey and take your minced garlic that you cut yourself. And it's really important that you cut it yourself and you don't do the minced garlic. We have all these fast food type conveniences in our society that are killing us. Do not buy chopped up garlic. That is lazy. Okay, go ahead and chop it up yourself and then put it on your teaspoon of Manuka honey, and you're gonna swallow it. Do not chew it because then you're gonna be like gagging. Swallow it, let it get in your gut. That is like the strongest antibiotic in the world during that time when that garlic is like that. And then you're adding it to the Manuka honey. That is a very strong, powerful antibiotic as well. When the garlic has been freshly cut like that, it's in this phase called allicin, and it is the world's strongest antibiotic when it is in that phase, but it only lasts for 20 minutes. After that, it's still helpful, but you really want to knock it out, like knock this junk out of your system. So use a really strong garlic when it's like that within the first 20 minutes. And then you add it to your Manuka honey and you swallow it down. It is amazing. You can take it every 2 hours. I do that faithfully. Sometimes we'll do like a drop of thieves with it on the spoon. It's so, 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 so good. So this is just like holistic stuff that we do in our home for years. I got over a really bad case of the flu using that. I was like dead. And then God raised me to life again. I'm like, I was dead and you healed me. I'm telling you what I did. Okay. So there's that. And then another thing that we make when we're really sick with cold, flu, RSV. RSV is really just for babies, but cold and flu. Ninja tea. This is like thieves tea that Haleigh talks about, but this is ninja tea. You are going to warm up your water on the stove top. Don't you dare put it in the microwave. We talked about this in another class. Do not use your microwave. You're going to kill yourself. But you're going to kill all the good stuff in your water. So put it on the stove top. When you can fit your finger in there and it doesn't scald your finger, it's not going to burn up your oils. It's at 120 degrees that oils start to break down really fast. So make sure you can stick your pinky in there. Then you're good to go. Then you're going to put in like 1 ounce to 2 ounces of Ninja into your water, your teacup of water. And then you're going to add in, you can add a couple of drops of lemon, a couple of drops of thieves. If you have like congestion stuff going on from your cold and you can't breathe, you can put a couple of drops of peppermint. If you have a fever, you can add a couple of drops of peppermint. All of this, it's all very universal. And then you drink that. Now, if you have elderberry juice and you're like, hey, I love elderberry juice, I make it myself, I am so crunchy, I make my own. Guys, throw that in there too. It's gonna help you. I did that. I did everything. I was like, this is like the best tea in the world. And then I put Manuka honey in it, like a teaspoon of it, and I mixed it up, drank it. I did that every 2 hours. Okay, so I did my garlic honey spoon every 2 hours, and I did my Ninja tea every 2 hours. And you're better. In 24 hours, you're done. You're like, I'm all better. You can also do the Thieves chest rub, the new one that just came out, or you can make your own. You can go on Pinterest and find like a chest rub recipe. I don't have one. I love the Thieves chest rub. I just rub it on my chest. Okay, that was my longest thing to tell you about. Okay, here's the next thing. I'm going to talk to you about runny nose and allergies. If your kid has a runny nose, you can take, this is the easiest thing ever, take a Q-tip, dip it in a little bit of coconut oil, carrier oil of your choice, and then put a drop of lavender, swab it inside their nose or your nose, and it clears all that up. It stops a runny nose. It's amazing. You can also do that for allergies. Here's another thing you can do for allergies. You can take a drop of lavender, peppermint, and lemon and put it in your hand and rub your hand together. I love what Haleigh called this. She said her scent tint. Scent tint. Okay, you're gonna make a scent tint and you're gonna breathe it in. So if your kid is having an allergic reaction to puppy dogs, They can breathe it in for like 30 seconds and just keep breathing it in, and it should calm that all down. You can also rub that on their chest. You can dilute it if you want to. You can make a roller. If you want to make a roller, I normally do 20 drops of each of those, 20 lavender, 20 peppermint, 20 lemon. You can make it extra strength by adding 10 to 20 copaiba. Copaiba makes everything extra strength. So then put all that in there, put whatever is left, top it with carrier oil, rub it on their chest, around their ears. You can put it on like their sinus cavity, wherever they need it, just stay out of the eyes. So we do that. You can diffuse those 3, lemon, lavender, peppermint. Another thing I like to make is allergy water. Allergy water. You're like, what the heck is allergy water stuff? Okay, allergy water, or you can call it flower power water if you want to be compliant. Allergy water is those 3 oils in your water bottle. So if you have like a Yeti cup, or you want to make some allergy tea, just put a few drops of lemon, peppermint, lavender in your tea or in your water bottle and drink it. And it's so good. And we'll drink it all day long. Honestly, I haven't had problems with my allergies in like 4 years, because we're taking really good care of our gut at this point in our lives, and lots of probiotics. The more probiotics you're getting into your gut, the more fermented foods, the more you're eating produce local to where you live, you will see allergies clear up in your life. Like, you shouldn't have those problems anymore. Fever. What do we do when we have fever? Okay, here's my thought about fever. There are 2 kinds of fever. There is a fever that is systemic to your immune system, like physical stuff going on in your body, and your body is fighting it off. We do not fight a fever. We allow our fever to fight for us. That is God's way of killing off viruses, infections, and whatever. I let my kids have a fever. Now, if they get delusional, which they never have, I remember going delusional when I was a kid and having a fever. They have never gone delusional. I keep a close eye on them, and I do the little fever thermometer. I do that. Sorry, thermometer. I check them. They never get over 104. I think maybe one time it was like 105. Now, if it gets like that, then I'm like, okay, we're going to start putting some oils all over the baby and, you know, the little one. But I want the body to do what God designed it to do. Why am I going to limit that? That means they're going to be sicker longer, or I'm going to see a resurgence later. So I do not fight a fever unless I'm like, okay. And I've never seen them get like that. But here's what you can do for a fever. You can do diluted peppermint on the spine, the bottoms of the feet. You can take lemon and lavender. You can put it across the forehead. You're hearing a lot of the same oils here, right? Lemon, lavender, peppermint. They do all the things. But they're really gentle on kids. So you can do that right on their forehead. You can drop it on the crown of their head. You can do frankincense on the crown of their head. You can put it on like the back of their neck. Guys, we're gonna have this recorded, so if I'm talking too fast, you can do a replay and write the stuff down again. And then you can always soak their feet in peppermint, frankincense, thieves, oregano. So we've had all these kit oils except for those 3 that I talked about: copaiba, purification, and oregano. So you need those 3. Okay, so you can soak their feet. Wellness baths are essential for fighting and keeping your immune system strong. What is a wellness bath? Honestly, it's anything you want to throw in your Epsom salt, mix together, throw it in a warm tub of water. But if you're really fighting stuff, get in your book and look up immune oils here, like in Appendix A. But those are normally frankincense, thieves, oregano. Mix them into your Epsom salt. I always do a cup of Epsom salt. You can do magnesium flakes. Those are really awesome. I'm actually getting away from Epsom salt and using more magnesium flakes these days. Sorry. But a cup of magnesium flakes or Epsom salt, and then you're gonna drop all your oils in there, mix it up really well, and then add it to the bath with the warm water. I always say until the warm water turns cool or lukewarm, where Jesus wants to spew it out of his mouth. I always say that to kids. I'm like, when it's lukewarm and you don't want to be in it anymore, let me know. So, and then like 20 minutes. And you can do that, like when it's cold and flu season, we do that every night before bed. Like, I'm like, you're getting your wellness bath, kid. You ate Halloween candy. You ate too much of Nana's, whatever it was, that was so good, and your immune system is tanked. So we're doing that. Okay, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing about fevers. I really believe that your emotional health can trigger fevers. And I've seen it firsthand in my daughter. She had an emotional fever that happened on our way home from Diamond Bound. We drove in a 15-passenger van all the way to Chicago. And we were going through a really heavy season of like attack in our lives, like spiritual attack. And it was just a lot. And then we drove to Chicago, me with 3 kids and a van full of people that are in this class right now. And it was stressful coming back home. And she got a high fever. And I was like, that's so weird. She hasn't really been around anyone to be sick, but she has this really high fever in the back of the van. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I didn't have anything with me. Lisa makes fun of me all the time. She's like, you never carry any kid oils with you. And I'm like, no, I just keep my mom emotional bag with me. I'm like, I've got my believe, and I've got my valor, and my joy, and my highest potential, and my blah, blah. And I never have these with me. I rarely have peppermint with me. And I never have digest with me. So it's funny, but I need them sometimes, right? But I did this. I did valor in her underarms, and I did joy all over the back of her neck. I did it on her chest. I did it on the crown of her head. And then the funny thing was I just did that immediately because those are really high frequency oils. What is that? Like, that sounds new agey. I'm not a new agey person, okay? But food has calorie energy, right? Our food is measured in energy. We call it calories. Plants, oils, they're measured in frequency energy. So the energy of the plant or the oil is called frequency. It's the same thing, calorie, frequency. If you want to call it calorie because you're like, I feel better about that, that's fine. That's the same thing as energy. So those oils, the valor, the highest potential, the believe, the joy, they have super high frequency to them because they help your emotional health really, really fast, right? So I put those all over the girl. Then I got my scanner. I didn't have time to scan her beforehand. I was just worried about getting her fever down because I didn't want everyone else to kind of get it, I guess, in the van. I don't really know where my head was in that situation. We were just really tired. And so then I got my scanner. I have an iToby scanner, and it tells you what you need emotionally and physically. Her immune system was fine. There was nothing wrong with her immune system. It wasn't raised one bit, but her emotional system was off the chart. Like, she needed so much. And it was joy. It was valor. It was stuff I didn't have with me, like inner child. And I was just like, oh my goodness. And I just knew to put that on her. Well, it's kind of what I had. But I put it on her, and her fever was down in like 20 minutes. It was gone, and she didn't have it again. Like, she randomly had like 103 fever because I had my thermometer with us. I don't know why. God's good. And then it was gone, and it never came back. So she had like an emotional fever. So sometimes if you throw everything at it and you're like, I feel fine, I don't know why I have fever, maybe throw some emotional oils at it and see what happens. So that's my thing on the fever. Vomiting. What do you do when you're vomiting? Okay, last year I abused my oils. I have always told people you can't OD on your oils. I abused my oils last year because I hate throwing up. I hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it. It was the very beginning of my pregnancy with Cooper, and I had no idea, and I think I had a tummy bug at the same time. We have a roller. I don't have the recipe for you right now, but it's called Cookie Toss, and you can look it up on Little Drops of Life. I don't have it. I made it up one day when my kids were throwing up every 20 minutes years ago, and it's just been like a go-to roller. It's called Cookie Toss. I abused Cookie Toss last year, and I'm telling you that I did that. I rubbed it all over my belly. You can do digest the same way, but I did it with Cookie Toss. I did it all over my belly every 15 minutes because I did not want to throw up. Guys, God has given us the ability to throw up for a reason. I did not allow whatever my body was trying to get up out of me, and then it went the other direction, and I was in the worst pain of my life, and I ended up passing out because it was going the other direction. And I don't know what it was. It was something that shouldn't have been in there, and my body was like passing out by it. Okay, I abused my oils because I didn't allow my body to throw up what it needed to do. If you feel that way, please throw up. Like, it's a good thing. Allow your body to throw up if it needs to throw up, okay? Now, if you need to stop the throwing up for whatever other reason, maybe dehydration or whatever, then use your digest. Digest is great. Or go to Little Drops, find the Cookie Toss. Maybe just use it every hour, every 30 minutes. I was doing it like really often. And so don't do that. Don't learn from my mistake and don't do that. Okay, digest is great. Aroma ease is great. You can breathe it in, or you can rub it on your belly, or you can put it on in the middle of your belly button, like drop it in your belly button. You can put it in the arch of your feet. You can put a hot, wet washcloth over that area, really allow it to soak in and ease your tummy. We do that. If you need to speed things up, put your oils on clockwise, like to work with your digestive tract, because that's the way they're laid out in your belly. If you need to slow things down, you're like, I need to slow this down. I can't make it to the bathroom or whatever. Okay, go the other way. Go counterclockwise. Bentonite clay. Get some bentonite clay. That's my other holistic thing. Get some bentonite clay. And if you were in our underarm detox class, you're like, hey, we use that to detox our pits. Okay, yes. And you can also drink it. If you're like, I feel so gross, I'm about to throw up. Okay, bentonite clay is really cool. You can take a teaspoon to a tablespoon of it and mix it into your water and drink it. Okay, it tastes like dirt because it is dirt, but drink it down. It's not going to hurt you. It's going to leach onto whatever is in your gut that doesn't need to be there, and then you're going to flush it through with a bunch of water. So drink a lot of water. It will dehydrate you if you don't drink any water behind it. So then you can drink some water with some lemon, keep you really hydrated with electrolytes. But get some bentonite clay. And then here's my last one, and then I'm going to pass the class on to our guest. Headache. Peppermint, press it to the roof of your mouth. Valor, press it to the roof of your mouth. You can drop it on the crown of your head. You can also take an oil called M-grain. If you suffer from migraines, there is an oil called M-grain. It's for migraines. You can press that to the roof of your mouth. It's amazing for getting rid of headaches. You can also take deep relief roller, roll it on your neck, wherever it's hurting. You can just put that, massage it into the area, put a hot, wet washcloth on that area to really allow it to absorb in. The best thing you can do for headaches is ditch the toxins in your home. Synthetic fragrance, number one thing to get out of your home. Aluminum in your deodorant. Ditch and switch will help you get rid of headaches. Progestins Plus, if you get hormonal headaches, so you get them like once a month or something like that around your cycle, Progestins Plus is amazing. You can use that every single day. I drop that under my tongue every day, so sublingually. You can also, if you really suffer from migraines, I would recommend getting PD 80/20, but you do not have to do Progestins Plus if you're doing PD 80/20, but if it's like severe, PD 80/20 really helps support that as well. So I'm gonna pass the class on to Miss Chelsea Hurst. She's gonna talk to us about sinuses.
Yes, so I wanted to make sure that I talked in here because I have quite a lot of friends on this class, and I know that I talk about this all the time. I'm surprised that nobody has shared it yet, but with anything congestion related, like things when you just feel super clogged up in your sinuses, sometimes you get that around certain times of the year with allergies and whatnot. So the oils that I usually use are like eucalyptus in my like boiling pot of water, because if you breathe in that steam, it's going to open up your airways so much more than just like breathing it in through the diffuser. So I usually share that pretty frequently whenever somebody is like complaining about allergies or something congested related. My sister's boyfriend was like super sick whenever I was visiting him a few months ago, and I was like, trust me, you're gonna be really shocked when you feel how better you feel like within minutes. And he's like, oh my gosh, like his reaction was crazy because he just couldn't believe it. He's never used oils or anything natural related. So we're working on them to get all the crap out of their home. But it's just really cool to see how like oils like peppermint, eucalyptus, of course, close your eyes when you're breathing over the steam because you don't want to get like a lot of that in your eyes because it's just gonna open them for sure, and it's gonna be a little painful probably. So just breathe that in. I would do it for probably like 15 minutes or so. That's usually how long I do it for. So I'll breathe it in, and then I'll take like little breaks, and of course the steam like dissipates pretty quickly, so you might have to add more water, keep it boiling, and then add about like 3 to 4 drops every time that you are like adding it to the water. So that's like my super big hack that I share. And then of course I make like a kind of mock-up Vicks Vapor Rub. So I'll add in like Raven or RC into some coconut oil, rub it on my chest, on the bottoms of my feet. And it's super nice to do before bed as well. Cause I don't know if you guys notice when you are feeling congested, but you go and lay down for some nice restful sleep and you can't really get it because then your sinuses are even more clogged up and it's just the worst thing ever. So sometimes even putting it underneath your nose, like on your upper lip, like that helped me a lot. My mom would always put it in the randomest places growing up. She'd always put it all over me. And now I'm just like, man, I wish she knew about oils because she could have made like a natural version. So that's how I help all of the congestion. And I haven't had any of those problems since I started being super serious about natural living. So a lot of these issues that we talked about tonight, you probably won't struggle with them as much as you dive more into ridding your home of toxic crap. And you probably, most of you have done that so far. There's a few of you who are kind of newer, but just like that makes a world of a difference. And then of course what we eat. I know we could get on this call and talk about it all the time, like how oils are amazing and how we should use all these things. But if we're eating, Cheez-Its and pie and, all this random junk food that's really yummy, but not good for our body, then we could just be kind of suffering and our bodies are just crying out to us to feed it good food. So in order to have these oils help more, it's important to have a better diet, a diet that aids it. So maybe we could do a class like that sometime, talking about food and stuff. I'm sure you've done it before. But yeah, I just wanted to share that. So that's my little thing.
Thank you so much, Chelsea. Yes, I love those too. The peppermint steamers, that's what I call them. I wanted to add one more thing to the sinus congestion. I had to do this my first year as an oiler. It is cedar wood. Like if it's a really bad sinus thing, I do cedar wood and then lavender, and then I top it with tea tree. I call it flower power, but it's just those, and I don't dilute them at all. But that really clears up things, as well as that peppermint steamer. So when I'm home, I'll do the peppermint steamer, but if I'm gone, I'm doing that flower power on my sinuses, and it works really, really well. And thank you for whoever said sulfurzyme about allergies too, because I forgot that is something that we have done, and they have it in a powder form and they have it in a capsule form. That I don't have cat allergies anymore, and I have always been allergic to cats since I've been from the time I was a teen until 6 months ago. And we had to have our kitties live inside, and I was going crazy, with my eyes swelling shut. And Jordan said, take your sulfurzyme stuff. And I was like, duh. And it healed it up. So I love the sulfurzyme powder. You can add it to your water with some Ningxia, and it's really good. So yes, thank you so much for whoever said that in the chat. That was awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so now we're gonna move into seed to seal and how to get started. Many of you are already started, but I think we might have one or two guests in here tonight that have no idea about Why Young Living. And I'm gonna tell you about that because I have a personal encounter with all of that. I was the girl that would go find people that had been to Young Living classes and tell them they were being duped, that all oils were created equal because the FDA did not regulate essential oils. And my oils that I got from Amazon, 10 for $20, said 100% pure, therapeutic grade, just like Young Living's did. And I was like, they're just saying that on their bottles. It doesn't mean anything. They just want to sell you $20 lemon. I didn't know how much things cost, but I just knew they were really expensive. But I had been using oils for years, since 2008 is when I started using oils. I did not get my starter kit until 2015. 15. So all those years we're using these bogus bad oils, and I had 0 testimonies with them. 0. Within 2 weeks of having our oils, I felt amazing. And I'm telling you, we got over that strep throat, right? So with our thieves' teeth, what's wrong? Way strong. And so from there, it was just like all these testimonies. Now, I had used other oils from 2008 until 2015. Now I use my other oils to let people smell the difference. I'm like, here, smell this. Smell this peppermint versus this peppermint. Smell this tea tree versus this tea tree. And people are like, you can smell it. Like, you can smell how gross those other oils smell because they're not regulated. And they probably have like 3% essential oil in them. And who knows how they even cultivated, harvested, and distilled and bottled that 3%. They're definitely not Young Living standard. Young Living only does historical standard. They love on their plants from the time they put them in the soil, and then the soil has to be the perfect pH for that plant that they're growing. It has to be the perfect time of year for them to plant it, and then they grow them on whatever continent they grow best in, and then they love on them, they hand weed, they use their oils as herbicides and pesticides. They don't use any toxins on their plants. They pride themselves in their weeds, and then when they go to harvest them, they do whatever method they have to protect the integrity of the oil inside the plant. So if that means picking them at 3 o'clock in the morning under a full moon by women, because we have a more gentle touch, then that's what they do. They do not spare any expense at all. Then they wait whatever amount of time needs to be waited to get them into the distillery. Now, when I say whatever time has to be waited, it's not because there's a backup in the distillery and they have to wait for the Instant Pot to be done so they can go to the next batch. But they do that based on the plant. Okay, when is this oil in this plant going to be the most fragranced? Okay, if we need to wait 2 hours, we're going to wait 2 hours. If we need to wait 2 days, we're going to wait 2 days. But they know because they use everything to historical grade. And then every time they harvest, they pick the most beautiful and the most unique and the most whatever of the best pristine of those seeds that come, and they save those seeds for the next planting. So essentially, their seeds and their oils get better and better and better with time because they're always picking the best and the best and the best for the next seed crop of that plant. That is why, as well, that Young Living's oils will go out of stock if they have any problems. So say, for instance, they're harvesting ylang ylang and it's a bad crop, and 100% of it doesn't measure up to their historical standards, which, again, I'm really plugging in the pocket reference tonight, guys. You can find out about the key constituents for each of these oils and what they need to be at in this pocket reference book. Each of the oils in the single section tells you the key constituent levels that they're looking for. So it's basically like baking a cake. You need this much, you need this many eggs, you need this much flour, you need this much sugar, but they break it down into the key constituents. So you need this percentage of this long Latin word, and then you need this key constituent level of this and this percentage range. And there's like 15 to 20, sometimes 30 different key constituents, and they have to fall between those specific percentages before they can bottle it. So normally that looks like 30% of what they distill in that crop measures up. So it would be like, I always call Haleigh out. Haleigh owns a coffee shop. It would be like Haleigh, they also roast their own beans. It would be like Haleigh only selling 30% of her roasted beans because the other 70% never measure up. Do you think that's going to make Haleigh's coffee do you think it's going to make Haleigh's coffee cost more money? Yes, because they have overhead to pay for, right? But is it going to mean that Haleigh's coffee always tastes like Haleigh's coffee? Yes, and we want Haleigh's coffee to always taste like Haleigh's coffee. So that's the same thing with Young Living. When you're using your oils medicinally, you want the same result every single time. I want every single one of those recipes that we gave you to work for you every single time. If you're trying to use peppermint to drive your fever down on your kid who is suffering from seizures from his fever going too high, you want to know that that peppermint's going to work, right? It needs to be 100% pure. It needs to have historical standards. So that's Young Living Seed to Seal. You're getting beyond pharmacy grade every single time. You're not getting oils that were whipped up in some third world country and the distillery was treated with bleach before your plants went in there, before they steamed it. And then all that bleach distilled up into your bottle that then they bottled. No, girl, that's not going to help you. So that's why my oils didn't help me for all those years, because they weren't seed to seal. Okay, so there you go. That's seed to seal. And then that's only Young Living has that. So when people are like, why does Young Living cost so much money? That is why Young Living costs so much money. I am now going to tell you how to get started. You need to get started with a premium starter kit. That's the best way to get started in the world, hands down, no matter what changes ever come with Young Living now and forever. You need to get started with a premium starter kit because you need those oils. Every single one of these things that we talked about tonight, 95% of them came out of the starter kit. You need that starter kit of oils. You need a diffuser in your home. So you're going to want to get started with that. Chelsea is going to talk to us about essential rewards.
Yeah, so this is my favorite part because it allows us to actually continuously use the products and do it on a budget in a way. Because I have a lot of girls who join with me and they're on a budget because they're in college, or they're just not making the most money. They're not in their prime years of reaping what they're sowing. You know what I mean? So they're always looking for a way to do the natural lifestyle kind of like slower in transition. So grabbing your kit on ER is just like a no-brainer because you just are able to get like 10 points back automatically. Because the first 3 months of you being on ER, you get 10% back of your orders so that you can just get the points in your bank basically to spend in the future on products. And then at 4 months plus, it's 20%. And then after like 24 months, I think it goes up to 24%. So anyways, you're just able to kind of feed your love for this lifestyle and being able to like get the free products down the line. Of course, you're not going to be able to like buy Ninja Red off your points right away unless you're like buying $500 products. But if you're on a budget, like I said, you can like get a wellness plan. Like one of the things that I love doing for my members is telling them, hey, like this kit is going to help so many of your needs. Yes, but there are a lot of products that are really great for your specific areas of needs within the supplement world, or within your skincare, or things in your bathroom, or your laundry, or your dishes. Like it's just everything. There's so much Young Living has that we can just replace what we already use. So I think it's just a no-brainer to be able to just grab that and then to just say yes and make a small commitment of like, even if you can just afford like $50 a month, that's usually around the budget a lot of people say that they want to do. So they'll like just choose to do like Progestins Plus and maybe a bottle of Thieves like for the month, so that they're like slowly transitioning things out. So you just pick your date every month that you want your box to be shipped out to you, and you can change it whenever. Like you could change that date to the 30th or to the 1st. And that's what I love to do. I never choose the same day every month because I'm always like, oh, I don't know what I want. And then I'm like constantly changing the day because I want to keep adding things to my order, and I'll buy things for other people. So yeah, it's really a great way to get your money like back, as far as if you're going to be loyal to one company, which we definitely recommend because you're buying all this stuff anyway. And you're also able to like be able to talk about these products to your family and to people around you. And it's free oils. Yes, Jenny just got it right on the head. You get free oils on ER as well. So like whenever you hit certain PV promos, if you're going to spend a little bit more, then they just, throw in a few different oils. They did the whole culinary kit this month, which was really fun. They had like, the thyme and I think it was like, was it coriander? I think it's something like that. And they're in like the plate, the cheese plate, the cheese charcuterie board, whatever. So anyways, they just throw little fun things in there like that. So I'm just really pumped every month when I get that box. And I usually can't afford to like spend tons of money, but this month I'm splurging and spending like $400 on my order because I have so many things that I need. And so you just have those months where you splurge, and then you have some months where you're just like, all right, I just want to spend $50 or $100. And what's an amazing thing too is in September, they're actually rolling out free shipping on a $100 order, like every month sort of thing. So you'll never have to spend money on shipping if your order hits $100 every month. So that's awesome. And that's ER for you.
Thanks so much.
Fun box.
So we do this thing, and we've kind of forgotten to mention it, but if you hop on ER and you have a wellness chat with us, and then you're on ER, like fulfilling your wellness chat plan for 3 months, when you finish that plan up, we will send you a wellness and whimsy beautiful roller set. So go ahead, if you are already, if like you have your membership or you haven't gotten your membership yet and you're like, I actually want to do that, that sounds amazing, contact me, contact Haleigh, contact Chelsea. I'm going to throw Chelsea in here too. And we will do a wellness chat with you. And once you fulfill it after 3 months, I'll send you a wellness and whimsy roller set just as a way to go. You made it through that. We're so proud of you. So there's that. And then Haleigh is going to go ahead and do our devotional tonight.
All right. I love that. I love hearing from you guys. So we try to leave you with truth and love and encouragement with your health. And then also spiritually, we want to bring the word to you guys too. So, I wanted to share a scripture with you guys that is out of John, and it's John 15, 1, and let's see, 1 through 2. So it says that I am the true vine and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. And so you can go and read that whole chapter. It's amazing. But what I wanted to share with you guys is like our life is like a garden. Our kids' life is like a garden, and we are what we put. If you're a grandma, your grandkids' life is like a garden. And so what we're doing in our life, if we're not allowing the Lord to come in and like garden and prune and tend like our financial life, our financial aspect of our life, our physical aspect of our life, our emotional aspect of our life, like it all is in this beautiful garden that the Lord has for us and has created. But if we're not like tending the physical health, row of the garden, like we're just going to have like all these weeds, and our life in that area is not going to produce fruit. So like just an encouragement is just like, let the Lord, whatever that area is, if that's health and wellness for you, like let him tend it, let him like prune that area. If it's emotions, like let him do that. Because what he does prune, it's going to produce even more fruit, and it's just going to be beautiful. And we're like a holistic being. Every area of our life we need to be imbalanced. Doesn't mean that we're going to be perfect, but when we start getting him to prune other areas, our life is going to be way more prioritized, and we're not going to be like all over the place like we're on a roller coaster. So that's my encouragement. I hope you guys can go and look at that and challenge yourself to ask the Lord, what is that something that he needs to prune in your life? And so I'm just gonna pass it back to Stephanie.